Quiet, please. Okay.
So today I'm going to talk about avian influenza. I took this subject because this is a current disease in France, and especially in the southwest of France where I am from. Avian influenza is a disease caused by a virus, and it can have a very quick dissemination. So this is my plan. I will first talk about influenza viruses, which one is involved, the symptoms, and the diagnosis. Then I will talk about how to prepare his farm for an outbreak with the detection and the disease control. And finally, I will talk about the prevention and the biosecurity. So about the viruses, there is 3 groups of viruses which can cause influenza. There are types A, B, and C, but only type A is known to infect animals and is zoonotic, meaning it can infect animals and also humans. Avian influenza viruses are extremely variable and are widespread among birds. In those, they all belong to the Orthomyxoviridae family. Influenza A viruses are classified into subtypes based on 2 surface proteins, the hemagglutinin, HA, and the neuraminidase, NA. For example, a virus that has HA5 protein and NA1 protein is designated as the subtype H5N1. Avian influenza virus strains are usually classified into 2 categories according to the severity of the disease in poultry. There is first low pathogenic strains, which typically cause few or no clinical signs in poultry and may go undetected due to the lack of symptoms in some species of birds. And there are also the highly pathogenic strains, which can cause severe clinical signs and potentially high mortality rates among poultry. So here is the representation of the virus H5N1, and you can see that there is the HA protein and the NA protein. So now about the symptoms, they are classified in 2 groups according to the virulence of the virus. Infection with low or mild virulent viruses in poultry have respiratory disease and infectious laryngotracheitis. Mortality range from 3% in hens to 15% in meat chickens, and the eggs production can drop to 45%. Infection with highly pathogenic viruses. In acute cases, mortalities occur from 44 hours to 1 week after the first signs of the disease. There is a respiratory distress with excessively watery eyes and cyanosis of the cones, wattle, and sangs. You can also see edema of the head and eyelids, diarrhea, and nervous signs. Also, one particularity of the avian influenza in this case is that the eggs laid after the onset of the illness frequently have no shells. Avian influenza may be suspected on the basis of clinical signs and events leading to the disease. Laboratory tests are required to confirm the diagnosis. There are the ELISA test methods and also tests for inhibition of hemagglutinin or inhibition of neuraminidase. You have to make sure that the symptoms you find on your poultry don't belong to another disease, because there are other diseases causing sudden high mortality and other diseases causing swelling of the cones and wattles. Now preparing for an outbreak. These are the process farmers must do. So there is the early detection, disease surveillance, domestic poultry surveillance, wild bird surveillance. And all these kind of surveillances and alerts may be done by veterinarians. The dissemination of this disease is very important. You can see in the first map that there is a lot of flyways of migratory birds. And in the second map, bright red represents the countries where the disease has affected the poultry, and in dark red where the disease also infected humans. So you can see it's majority in Asia, Europe, and Africa. To control the disease, every farmer must contain the disease before it spreads, and they also have to eliminate it by sampling out the affected premises and establishes the proper disposal. So first there is the quarantine and culling. Poultry must be ranged in the specific area without contact with external factors, and when the mortality is too high, it will mean the disease is really present in the farm, and farmers have to cull the poultry. And second, there is the restricted zone. So as you can see here, there is a restricted zone from 1 to 5 kilometers around the infected area, and there is also a control zone, a control area from 2 to 10 kilometers around the restricted area. And then the vaccination is still the best way to prevent the disease in a farm. So now the prevention. Prevention and biosecurity. Biosecurity means all the factors you can apply to preserve your poultry from the disease. First, restricted access keep the disease out of the farm. Only trained employees can come in the building. You must keep all the areas clean to get healthy chickens, geese, and ducks. When you buy new animals, you have to make sure that they are healthy, and also you have to use a clean equipment. And furthermore, report early signs of a problem that could be devastating, and take a period of rest between two poultry breeding. The vaccination. So for avian influenza, there is no treatment, but there is some vaccine who exist and are more and more developed. The decision to set up a vaccination program in a country returns to the Central Veterinary Services. However, the vaccination is only one of the methods of prevention and control. Other methods should always be implemented and respected, even if vaccination is practiced. And vaccination may be a solution to avoid the risk of the avian influenza, but it will not eradicate the disease. And in conclusion, I would say that the circulation of avian influenza viruses is not a new phenomenon. Avian influenza occurs worldwide, and different strains are more prevalent in certain areas of the world than others. And so it's very important in affected countries to take a lot of preventions and to be aware of an eventual outbreak. Avian influenza brings devastating economic consequences. For example, in France, approximately every year there is several points of infections, and sometimes it become real outbreak, and farmers are forced to kill their animals, and the insurance can cover all the charges and the lack of benefits. And finally, I would say it's important to remember that avian influenza is also a potential disease for humans.
Soft round of
This is my
applause.
sources.
Excellent. Questions? Comments? I guess I have one question. Are there any, is there a certain type of bird that spreads this influenza more than others? Like I'm thinking I'm not sure, I don't know if owls even migrate. I was going to say like owls that eat flesh versus sparrows. Are there any bird differences, do you know, that you ran across?
I don't answer.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just curious. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, yeah, I mean, it's a worldwide problem. You know, China right now has problem with swine influenza, and they're really hurting their swine industry.